This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Google's doing it. They're making Android tablets again. And this is their latest one, the Pixel tablet. And it has USI 2.0 stylus support. So let's test this thing out. Hello, my name is Brad. I review tech for creative professionals. And I have to say up front, this tablet is not marketed at creative professionals at all. Google doesn't even sell a specific stylus for this, although it does have stylus support. But because it works with this, I thought it was worth talking about. Now, the real thing Google is marketing this as is not just an Android tablet like all of the others out there, but kind of a smart hub for your home that doubles as a tablet just by pulling it off the included speaker base. One thing that this does not include in the box is a USB Type-C charger and cable. Even though there's a USB Type-C port along the bottom of this really is meant to be charged along with that base. Now, this does not come with this stylus. This was $60 extra. I picked it up on Amazon. I'll link that down below. It works pretty decently. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. When I first heard of this product, I thought this is actually a really good idea. I have a lot of tablets laying around, mostly for art and testing and that sort of thing. And whenever I grab any of them, they're almost inevitably totally uncharged. So I have to wait 20 minutes for the thing to charge up before I can even test and use it. Having something that's always attached and always charging in the background just sounds incredibly convenient. And being able to give you information that you need while it's doing that, fantastic. The implementation though seemed a little clumsy to me. From a hardware standpoint, it does some pretty cool things. For example, if the tablet is playing music and then I attach it to the hub, that speaker takes over instantly. However, it does some weird things at that point. The main thing is the volume balance. For example, if I'm holding a tablet, it's right here. I don't need my speakers to be that loud. However, if I'm using the hub, probably on the other side of the room, or at least more distant from me, I would expect it to be louder. But what happens is when I connect it to the hub, it clicks down about 3 steps on the volume meter, which is the opposite of what I would expect. When I pull it off, it actually goes up 3 clicks on the volume meter. I would think that it would at least try to stay the same. Most Android devices, like if you have Bluetooth headphones on, are controlled differently. Those are 2 different volume sliders. Some of the other hub features were kind of weird as well. For example, I loved the idea of using this as like a little weather center that's just always in my family room. But the customizability of the hub features itself are pretty minimal. Now, I don't use any Google Smart Home features, so that might be why it seems so limiting to me, but the apps that they provide to tell you things like the time and the weather and that sort of thing don't really give you a ton of information, and it's not customizable much at all. The weather app itself gives you the time at a decent size that I can see across a room or across a table. However, the weather information, which is the point of a weather app, is so small that you can only see it when you're using it in tablet mode. I did find a clock app that actually shows me the temperature at a pretty good size, but I want to see things like, is it going to rain in the next few hours? I live next to a lake. How windy is it today? I hope that in the future, Google allows people to create their own and then put them in the app store so they can customize them to their heart's desire. I would love to see something like that, but right now, the hub features themselves aren't that particularly useful to me. Now, as far as an Android tablet, I thought it was pretty solid. I thought it was a nice mid-range tablet. The first thing you notice when you pull it out is just the nice texture along the back. It almost feels soft and warm to the touch, unlike most, hard body aluminum tablets, which are usually cold and rigid when you first pick them up. The screen itself is decent. This is an LCD screen with a 1600 by 2560 pixel resolution. It's really crisp. It's not as nice as, say, the OLED screens out there, but it's serviceable. The device is running Android 13. This is my first time checking out just out of the box Android in a few years. I've been using Samsung skins and OnePlus skins. I thought this was really nice. I love the color schemes, and I like some of the things Google is doing here with their interfaces. And a lot of you are going to be happy to know that this camera is centered along the top of the device. This is using Google's Tensor G2 chip, and I thought it performed pretty well. One thing that I was looking really closely at were the animations, because when I first pulled it out and started swiping back and forth, it didn't seem super duper snappy like some tablets and phones do. And I think what's happening here is that Android is designed to be used on a very narrow screen, and when you blow it up and make it 3 3 or 4 times wider and you swipe, it takes just as long to swipe between those screens, but you have so much more distance to travel that it just feels more sluggish. It's more of an animation problem than it is like an actual performance problem, but that's really not a big deal at all, and it's really nitpicking. When I was using it for drawing or games or that sort of thing, the processor was just fine. We have 128 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigabytes of RAM inside this thing. When this is connected to the dock, it is a 15-watt charger. That means it's going to take several hours, 3 to 4, probably to get this thing fully charged up. If you need it to charge faster, you probably are going to want to invest in a standard USB charger. The magnets that they put in this to connect it to the dock are crazy strong, but also they're just magnets. So if you want to put it somewhere else that happens to be metal, you could do that. But now let's get to the main course. We really got to talk about drawing. But before we do, I want to shout out today's sponsor, Squarespace. Keeping your website up to date can be a bit of a chore, but with Squarespace, the all-in-one platform for building the ultimate website, it's a snap. Their Fluid Engine is a next-generation website design system from Squarespace. It's never been easier for anyone to unlock unbreakable creativity. Starting with a best-in-class website template, you can customize every design detail and reimagine it with their drag-and-drop technology for desktop or on mobile. You can upload, organize, access all of your content from one place using Squarespace's asset library. You're able to manage all your files from a central hub and use them across the entire Squarespace platform. And then there's Squarespace's analytics, where you can use those insights to grow your business, and you can learn where your site visits and sales are coming from, analyze which channels are most effective, improve your website, and build marketing strategies based on your top keywords or most popular products and content. Head over to squarespace.com for a free trial. When you're ready to get started, go to squarespace.com/BradColbo to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain. Okay, like I mentioned at the top, I did have to pay extra for this pen. It doesn't come packed in. And overall, the pen was okay. Now, this is a USI 2.0 stylus. You see these used a lot in Chromebooks and occasionally in an Android tablet. Now, my first experience using one of these pens was actually just a few weeks ago when I reviewed the OnePlus tab. OnePlus Pad. I'll get it right one of these days. And this pen feels, acts, performs exactly the same way. So one of the main things I'm always looking for in these pen reviews are wobbly lines. And the lines here are pretty smooth. I could definitely find some wobble, but it's not real nasty. It's not real wobbly. It's definitely something you can live with. The question is how did you get the lines to be so smooth? And I think what they're doing with these pens is they're adding in a lot of software smoothing. Now, this is usually something that the apps themselves do. For example, you can go into Photoshop, or in the case of Android, if you're using Clip Studio, you can turn up the smoothing. You can scale that up to make your lines smoother and kind of get those really crisp lines that get rid of some of your natural handshake. But there is always a catch with that, and the main thing is it feels less organic. It's also going to add a ton of lag. As they've turned up that smoothing, you can see it here. The lagginess is really profound. And when you're drawing something and when you're sketching, you really do feel that. Like, it's like, oh, how am I going to make these lines meet at the end? How are these things going to catch up? And when I used it on the OnePlus Pad, I was like, okay, I noticed that. But the more and more I draw with these kinds of pens, the more that thing, it kind of bugs me. In fact, in some ways, I think I might actually rather have the wobble, because in that case, I can control in the software how much smoothing I need to add to get my smoother lines, instead of it just having this default smoothing placed on top for me. Now, in terms of other things this pen does, what about pen pressure? I thought the pen pressure was really good. This has like 4,000 levels. The number doesn't really matter too much, but it feels responsive. It doesn't really blow out in any particular place while you're drawing with it. The other thing that this pen has is tilts. Now, most applications don't take advantage of that on Android, but every so often you find one and you can shade with the side of the pencil if you like. So overall, I give this pen mixed reviews. I think there is some better stuff out there. One thing I did not get when I was testing out this product is there is a case that you can buy and attach or stick this Android tablet in it. And along the back, it's got this ring. Part of that is designed to help you like guide it into place when you're magnetically attaching it to the dock. But the other thing it does is you can use it to prop it up at any angle. Now, when I was looking at it and seeing people using it, it didn't look like the type of thing that can hold up to the pressure of your hand while you're drawing, especially like at those lower levels. I think it's just gonna fall straight down, but it did look sturdy enough that if you were gonna watch content, you could set it on the table or something like that, and probably holds it up pretty well. So in conclusion, what do I think? Well, I think the main thing that it's trying to do didn't really impress me that much. I wasn't that impressed with how it is as a smart hub. Speaking with Google Assistant worked pretty well, but the actual information that was being displayed on the hub at any given time just wasn't quite what I was looking for myself, and I would love more customizability there so that I could make it my own. Also, this thing is $500. Now, is the tablet itself worth $500? I don't know, I guess. I mean, it's pretty solid. You're getting this nice speaker along with it that sounds pretty good. I think at that price, what I would really like to see is Samsung come along and just basically copy that smart speaker, sell it as an additional accessory to sell with their S line of tablets. I tend to recommend Samsung tablets because they're using Wacom's technology as a pen. Now, the palm rejection on those isn't quite as good as what I saw on this pen here. However, I think just the line quality and the line control that I get from those pens is so much better. I guess what I'm saying is this isn't bad. It's not horrible, but you can do better. But what do you think? Are you glad that Google is getting back in the tablet game? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.